if there was a woman that was listening to this conversation, let's say they are doing the struggle, right? They're in this phase where they're going, I've done the Botox and I've done it because yes, but now let's say as listening to this conversation, they go, I recognize that I'm putting a facade. Let's say, what would be some inquiries that they could have at this point for them to start to accept for where they are in life, to continue to accept and take the path that you have taken?
I would say first and foremost, endless compassion. Start with endless compassion for yourself. That I can see it. I can see it so clearly how easy it is to get swept away by that river. So start with massive compassion for yourself. Identify, gosh, if I really peel it back and I go back to the beginning of whenever this started for me, of course, this is only for women who are interested in a different storyline. How do I think I got there? What story was I telling myself the first time I booked that appointment? What fear really lived underneath it? And let me take a minute and ask myself, like really not even ask myself, but feel for it. Is that my truth? Is that my belief? Or is it possible I absorbed that toxic belief from a world culture? Because what I have found for myself and most of my clients on any topic is oftentimes we're walking around the world and we think we have these certain beliefs. But when you really start to strip it away, you find out, oh my God, that wasn't actually your belief at all. You just heard it for enough years from enough places, confirmed over and over, that you just absorbed it and was like, yeah, I believe that too. You weren't necessarily given the opportunity or ever brave enough to dissect it and find out, oh my gosh, that was never even my belief. How the heck did I've done that with things in my life. So compassion, and then start to understand and identify. When I close my eyes and I sit with the truth of my womb space as a woman, do I believe that as a woman ages, do I believe she is less worthy of taking up space in this world? Do I believe she's less worthy of walking into a room with wrinkles on her face or a silver hair on her head? And if you believe that to be true, there's probably some work to do. If you believe that to not be true, there's still some work to do, but in a different direction, right? Yeah. So it's just about coming back to just starting with compassion. We have been so duped. And that's what I want to scream from the mountaintops is like, sisters, it's been a huge marketing campaign. It's a lie that has enslaved you to being so far away from the profound, exquisite beauty that lies within that we can't see.
While you were speaking that, I also recognize one of the things that I've observed in men that go for external beauty. Let me just call it that. Not that aging is not external beauty; it's still beautiful. But I don't know how to frame it. So I'm loosely using these terms.
No, absolutely.
But the young beauty, for example, is also because, and I'm thinking about my friends who have fallen for that trap and eventually then recognized that it was their own insecurity. Like they want to be accepted in society and they think that's how they will get accepted, especially when they become famous, especially when they get rich. Especially then they feel like, oh, I need to have somebody that is a younger partner because it'll sound so
no, you could
bad,
say it,
but it sounds like
we know that women know this.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like my token. This is finally my prize.
My
almost.
object.
My object, my prize.
My object.
I have it all.
Right.
And I've also seen them behind the scenes, not front facing. Front facing, they show the glam. But behind the scenes, when you sit down and you're just having a conversation, they'll also go, I am so empty. Like I am not in love. This is not love. This is, I did it because that was quote unquote the right thing or what I heard I should be doing. But I really want that real person actually, because who doesn't? Like,
right.
Even if you see that on whatever magazine or whatever, but if you really talk to a mature guy, they don't want to have an immature conversation either. Like, it's not that like as at least that's my experience of life. The more I'm growing older, the less I want to have a conversation with a 20-year-old. Not because I don't like them, but it's just like I want a 20-year-old, but that talks like a 40-year-old. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't want a 20-year-old that talks like a 20-year-old. I've also had life experience. I don't want to have a immature conversation. Right. I want them to, when I look at them, I should feel like we are energetically together.
Yes.
It's a dance. It's It's not a, like, oh, fine, you look good by my side and that's why I need
I
you.
can't even imagine how vapid it would be.
Yeah. And it is lonely for them. They realize it later.
I believe it. Well, I think in the same way that toxic beauty culture has sold the fear of aging to women, I think that our world has also sold to men this fear of not being considered like the man if he can't score that beautiful object next to him, right? I think that there is something that it's almost like you said, like a status, like a Ferrari would be a status, or a yacht would be a status. A younger woman is a status, but it's going to take the hands of men to, like Audre Lorde says, that the tools that built the master's house will not be the tools that dismantle it. So if men want something different, then they would need to start showing up in that way. You can't expect that you're going to actually have depth and richness from a place where someone is surviving on fear. It's just and I think also we've sold this, with the 15-year-old, the average, 15-year-old white American woman was considered by Victoria's Secret and Abercrombie and Fitch to be considered the ideal woman in the world. So when we set that kind of standard, think about, we are infantilizing women. Mm-hmm. So if you look a day over 15, you're not considered beautiful anymore. It's like, it is a very sick and twisted culture. And of course, porn culture perpetuates that too, of like the young, tight body, the young woman. It's so for men, it's as pervasive because you all, not saying all men are watching porn, but are also bringing that information into your consciousness a lot and starting to believe that to be that strong macho man, it's that woman. And also I think there's a fear of the older wisdom holder kind of a woman because she speaks her truth and she's harder to please in bed because she's not going to take a couple of, jackhammer moves to be excited. She's going to require some serious lovemaking and passion. And if you don't have that capability, you're not going to be able to be with a mature woman who knows her way around the bedroom.